Hello and welcome out to this episode of Outbreak Gamers. I'm your host, WebDave, David Anthony, Fat Guy, whatever you want to call me. And I am here with KY Bob. Bob, what's up, buddy?
Oh, I'm just excited to be here. You hit me up, I believe it was early yesterday, and
Yep.
reached out, and I'm excited to be here because this it's the first one-on-one interview I think I've ever done, and I'm pretty pumped about it. I'm ready to get personal and I'm an open book. Hit me. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Cool. We'll go where you'll take us. How's that? Like I
Okay,
said, I don't
works for
like
me.
leading anybody down a dark path, but whatever you feel like you want to share, we'll get to it today. I'm all cool with that. But anyway, thanks again for being here. I really do appreciate it. And I did reach out to you kind of short notice, and then I was like, hey, well, can you do it then? And you were like, well, sure. So that was great.
Yeah.
I love it, man. It's sometimes you strike when the iron's hot. I know there's some interviews that I've got like another month and a half where I have somebody scheduled to be on because it's you have to kind of shoot that far out for them. It just depends. Some people are handy, some people aren't. Some people are
Yeah.
leery because they don't know. Like,
Yeah.
what does this guy want to know? It's all about gaming and content providers and I did it again, didn't I? Content creators. It's been a long day, KY
That's
Bob.
right. It's a show about Comcast and Spectrum and all of them
It is.
providers.
It is. Woohoo! Oh goodness, that's so funny. That's so funny. Oh, dude, let me get the banner going here at the bottom so when people can help find out more about you and your show. And of course, all the links and everything to KY Bob is going to be in the description below. And first of all, I guess if you don't mind, we're gonna kick in with kind of a like maybe what was your first job that you had starting out.
Oh goodness. I was a bag boy at Kroger's, the grocery store.
Very cool.
Yep. For 3.5 years until I was old enough to be that my parents' insurance didn't drop me because I wasn't a student anymore.
Hmm.
Um, so I had to go out and get a real job that provided medical insurance. That's why I left Kroger's. But I started as a bag boy. Eventually, I was a cashier, and then I wound up running the dairy department,
Wow.
which was fun. Yeah, the,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
the cooler is cold, very cold.
I bet it is. Or you jacket a lot, I bet.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, yeah, I've never been in fast food. Started at the grocery store, and then moved on from there to factory jobs until I enrolled in college and got tired of uh, low hanging fruit, I guess you could say, in the
Yeah.
workplace.
Yeah. I can understand that. So I
Oh
guess
yeah.
with college, was there a certain like I guess career you were going after, or is it just kind of
Yes. I had always, throughout high school and pretty much my whole life, I'd always been really interested in computers, um, gaming, anything technology oriented.
hmm
My favorite thing to do was people that I didn't even know, if I found out they were putting like a stereo system in their car, I wanted to be the one to install it. I had to do it
cool.
because that was my love of electronics. And so when I enrolled in college at the University of Louisville, it was the JB Speed School. Um, I got my master's degree in engineering there, and immediately went into the field when I graduated in 2003.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
great. Cool, man.
Um,
That's
while I
cool.
was while I was in school, I did a lot of board level repair work on cell phones and iPads and laptops. And then shortly before graduation and shortly after, I worked for Asus
Mm,
in Louisville, where I was part of their it was warranty coverage work. We would
hmm
take the motherboards and we would test them and see exactly what they were coming back for, what was wrong with them, and whether or not it was a warranty claim. So I did a lot of investigating and troubleshooting through a microscope. Good times. Yeah.
Wow. That sounds pretty tedious, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It was fun though. Well,
Yeah.
it was doing what I love to do.
Right.
So
Well, that's what's important, man. As long as you enjoyed it, that's the big thing. I'm just curious now. So would you talked about the testing process? Would sometimes it be like like somebody either had I guess an electrical surge or something that wouldn't be covered
yes.
under warranty? That probably was a few of
Yes.
them, I guess.
Yes. We saw issues with the voltage rails on the delivery system on the motherboards. We would see issues where you could tell it was incoming voltage.
Ooh,
We didn't things that were caused by a certain person's power supply or their electrical service to the home. That stuff wasn't covered. It was only factory defects. They were
sure.
very strict about that.
I could understand that because man, you spend all day trying to fix that
Yeah,
kind of stuff if you let it go unchecked. A lot of people, they just plug it into the wall. It's like, dude, you really need to have a
yeah,
surge protector, and your house needs to be
definitely.
grounded.
Yes,
There's a
and
lot of things you need to have tons.
it's always
Yep.
important to check the back of that box, and it will
Hmm.
tell you how much money that surge protector covers if it fails.
Yeah. Exactly.
People don't look for that.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
So before we get into gaming, let's let's knock out the gorilla in the room. KY Bob. Now I ask you right away, Kentucky Bob, and you
Yes.
said Kentucky. Yeah, there you go, because you're from Kentucky. So am
Yep.
I. I also live in Kentucky. We live at other ends of Kentucky. Gosh, I
Yep.
couldn't even. I don't. You're probably 4 or 5 hours away from me, maybe. I would
I'm
think.
dead smack in the middle of the state.
Oh
So
well, then you're probably about 2 hours in. I would say because it takes me about 2 hours to get to Louisville and 2 hours to get to Nashville from here. So kind of toward
yeah,
the top over at the smaller end.
you're 2 hours then.
Yeah,
Two
there you go.
hours.
Sweet. That's cool. So and we were talking a little bit about it, and that you did when people see KY
Mhm.
Bob, you kind of get a little aroused sometimes because people think
Yeah.
another product that has that same
Hmm.
kind of name at the beginning.
Yep.
Well, so how do you deal with that?
I take it in stride.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't bother me because um my the name was given to me by Dealer Gaming.
Cool.
I've been a long time supporter of RDX, and my gamer tag used to be the Great One for Real, because
Cool.
back when I was playing PC gaming, I was playing a lot of Unreal Tournament, and I was cocky, and so my gamer tag was the Great One. And when I made the move to consoles in the 360 era, the Great One was already taken.
Oh,
So I shortened it and made it the Great One for Real, using the word the and GRT for great, and then the letter one, the number one, the number four, and then real spelled out.
yeah.
And we was in a party with Dealer one night on Xbox Live, and he said to me, he said, man, he said, they all called me Real, just to shorten it. And they were like,
Hmm.
you really got to change that, because as I'm going through my Patreons during the show, which he does at the beginning of every show, he said
He
the
does.
Great One for Real is too much to say with everything else that I already have to say. And I was like, so I'm open to options, and I gave him the whole explanation about why I did it, and then what it meant to me, because it was always the way that I did claim, myself online when I was playing PC games.
Hmm.
And it just so happened that there was another how you have kind of conversations that are going parallel in a party. Well,
Hmm.
the conversation that was going on parallel to the one me and him were having, they were talking about the movie Joe Dirt, and they were talking about the moment where what's his name was down where he was down in the pit, and he gets the new issue Auto Trader,
Hmm.
and he looks up and he goes, I understand. Yeah, rubs the lotion on his skin. Yeah, I'm rubbing the lotion. I'm rubbing the lotion. And I guess that just made a light bulb go off in Dealer's head. And he was like, because he knew He knew that I lived in Kentucky, and
Yeah.
he's like, "That's what you got to do. You got to name yourself KY Bob." I was like, "Really?" He said, "KY Bob." I said, "Why?" He goes, "KY Lube." I was really okay. So so it started out as KY Bob, and I even went as far as to actually make it look the way that the product looks. I put
Oh,
a dot. I put a dot in between the K and the Y.
that's funny.
But because I do support so many podcasters, they would
Yeah.
see me in the chat during their show, and you know how you hit the @ button and
Hmm.
you put in the first couple letters, and that person's username pops up. You just have to click it.
Yeah.
Well, like with your keyboard on your PC, there is no dot button,
Mm-mm.
which should go to show you that I created KY Bob on my phone, and I started go, and that's where I put it in there,
Yeah.
and it showed up on YouTube as K.Y space Bob, but in order to put it in a chat, there's no dot on the keyboard, and you had to put in more than one letter in order to get it to pop up. But you never can do that. But you never could do that because there was no dot.
Right.
So I shortened it during it was Xbox Ultimate podcast with Mav and Caitlin and them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was a big supporter of their show, and one day I just went on YouTube and I changed it. I changed my username to K and Y because they kept, they had said to me a couple times, you really need to make that so that we can just quick select you in the chat because, there's no dot on our keyboards. And so I did it. And the first time I did it, it was like a whole row of chats in the live chat where it works. All I got to do is put in K and Y and it pops up.
That's so funny.
Which brings us to where we are now. And some of the people that have known me for a long time in the community, they still look at me as KY, the Lube Bob. But now it does make more sense because the K and the Y are the abbreviation for Kentucky, and it is where I live. And
that's awesome.
Bob may or may not even be my name.
I like it. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you a hint. Mine is David. So hence the WEBDAVE. There you go. I know, right? I know. Mind blown. I know. Shocker.
Yes, sir.
That's so funny. That's so funny. So it's KY Robert. No, I'm just kidding. Bob for short. I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's awesome. And so dealer gave you your name. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, dealer, he's responsible for it.
I'll make sure I add him to the when I post this once it goes live and we put it on Twitter. I'll make sure I include him in that so he knows he was he's probably ears are burning right now. I've interviewed Dealer and he's such a great guy. Such a great guy.
Oh, he is. He's awesome.
Man,
he said he's one of my best friends.
He's always so awesome.
He's given me pointers and tips, and behind the scenes, I've actually used a service like StreamYards. I've used Restream to share a screen with him and have him walk me through things in Photoshop and Illustrator to help me improve my content creation.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's a hell of a guy. I can't say enough nice things about him. And he was very gracious, and I got to interview him, and I think that's probably still my biggest interview in this series was the one with him. And it was so funny because it started off and we were just talking about his education like 3 minutes in, and then you've seen his show, you know what he's like. He drops the you can cuss on here, that's fine, but most people don't usually just go nuts. Well, after like 3 minutes in, he just and or you can just call me a fuckface. And then it was like, what? And it was great. I loved it, man. It's so funny. It's probably
Can you hear my dogs?
I can, but that's okay. It's all right.
Because I can yell at them. I can tell them to shut the fuck up.
No. They want to be a part of the show too, and that's okay. Really, honestly, it absolutely doesn't bother me at all. Real life is real life, man. It's all good. That's the way I go here. So it's all good. But so let's talk about gaming. What was your first experience with gaming? Like, what was it? I guess, was it arcades? Was it PC? Was it the console? How'd you get started in gaming?
When I was a very young child and I was being looked after by my aunt and my uncle
Mm.
while my parents were working. My uncle was always like, I guess my uncle was going through a midlife crisis and was trying to feel younger, and so he
Mm-hmm.
come home with a game console one day, and it was
Nice.
I do believe it was ColecoVision,
Cool.
and it was it was either the ColecoVision or the 2600, unless Asteroids was on them both.
Could be. Honestly, I don't remember.
And when I saw them playing, I guess that was really started to fuel. That's what grabbed me. The
Mm-hmm.
technology, the gaming, it grabbed my soul, and I bugged my parents until and before that, I was strictly like I would play with the kid next door. We had the little GI Joes, we had the action figures. From the first moment that I ever saw gaming on a screen, I was done with all the action figures. I didn't play action figures anymore. I
Mm-hmm.
was worried about what new game was going to hook me next. And he had, like I said, I can't remember what he had exactly or whether it was on both his stuff, but I specifically remember Asteroids being the very first game that I ever laid eyes on. And I bugged my parents until they got me an Atari 2600. And I had
Nice.
so many cartridges for the 2600. Oh my God, I had them all. And then the 2600 moved to the 78. I had the Atari 7800. And then from the 7800, I jumped to the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yeah.
And so funny little story about that. My mom kind of pulled it was a bad joke. It was a bad joke because I
Okay.
had been on, this is back in the day where I guess is the very first time that I ever realized there wasn't a Santa Claus.
Oh, yeah.
You know, kids, if you're watching this, I'm sorry.
That's
So I'm gonna ruin it. So
so funny.
I wanted a new, and I don't know if you look to be around the same age as me. So you
Pretty
remember
old.
when the Nintendo Entertainment System came out,
Oh, yes.
okay, with Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. That thing was harder to find than a Series X and a PS5 was hard to find, 2 years ago.
Yes.
It was impossible. And my uncle ended up telling my mother, I can't remember, we were at a family gathering or something, and he told my mother that he knew where she could get one, but it was down in the country. It was down in like the Hickville. I mean, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes,
Those
I do.
smaller towns, and
Mm-hmm.
some little backyard Target had one, and so my mother went out there and she got me Nintendo Entertainment System. It came with Super Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt. I had the controller. I had the light gun. Well, Christmas morning came, and it wasn't under the tree. I had unwrapped everything under the tree, and it wasn't under the tree. And I can remember it being early that afternoon, and I was sitting at the kitchen table. I was just a child. I was crying because I wanted this Nintendo Entertainment System so bad,
Yeah.
and I didn't get it. And my mother comes walking down the hallway with a wrapped present and sits it on the table in front of me. And I'm like, if you wanted to surprise me, there was other ways for you to surprise me. You broke my heart before you surprised me. And yeah. So I don't know what happened. For all I know, she didn't get it until that morning and was
Right.
wrapping it in the back. Like I said, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then of course I had the Super Nintendo and the Genesis, and I remember back when that war was going on, what games looked better and played better between the Genesis and the Super Nintendo. And
Yeah.
yeah, but funny thing, I spent some time in the arcades, not a whole lot, thanks to consoles.
Mm-hmm.
Before consoles, arcades were the thing. Consoles have kind of pulled children out of the arcades, but I remember going to the movie theaters and seeing the very first Mortal Kombat in the arcade. And I'm telling you, I really suck at fighting games. I'm horrible at them, but I
Right.
loved that game, and
Oh
I
yeah.
would just spend so many quarters on that game, and I don't think I ever won a match. But when I but I had been stuttering. I had been studying. I had, the gaming magazines were big then. You had
Hmm.
Nintendo Power, you had Electronic Gaming Monthly.
Oh yeah.
So I knew I had it memorized how to do all the fatalities. So if I ever did win a game, it didn't matter who I won it with, I could pull the fatality off. Yeah.
That's
But
cool.
I didn't get to do that until I got to the console because I don't know. I guess I didn't work with the joystick well in the
Right.
arcade. Yeah.
I can see that. It's a different animal.
Yeah. And then
Cool.
I mean, we can keep going.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
give
Heck
you
yeah.
so Sega Genesis to and the Super Nintendo. And then there was a video store that actually rented out consoles.
Oh, cool.
And I remember I rented the Sega CD so that I could hook it up to my Genesis. And to me, that was amazing. That was just phenomenal. I loved it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then I got into the regular PlayStation 1. Became a huge Need for Speed fan. I look back at the time, it was cutting edge. I thought it was beautiful. I was like, that is
Hmm.
exactly what the car looks like. And then now I look back at it, and the very first not Nintendo, PlayStation, it's like, God, that's horrible. It's just awful. That doesn't even look like a Corvette.
Things
Ugh.
change for sure.
Yeah, and then I took a hiatus
Hmm.
in gaming. I became very PC centric.
Hmm.
This was around the time where, see, the PlayStation came out right before I went into college, and when I went into college for engineering, I became very good friends with a professor who would have LAN parties at his home. He had like 7 computers set up in his basement, and we would have LAN parties uh, on the PC. And we would play like Daytona 500, all of us racing in the same race together in the same
Hmm.
room, or we would play at the time Duke Nukem 3D or
Cool.
Doom, and we had a blast. And it sucked me into PC gaming, and I had to learn everything about PCs. I had to learn all about what made the processors so different from each other, how the buses worked, what graphics cards were the best, and I had to learn everything I could about it. And I
Hmm.
started building my own PCs when I was in college, and I was PC gaming strictly, and I built this beast of a PC so that it could
Hmm.
run Far Cry, the very first Far Cry when it
Very
came out.
cool.
And I remember I had a GeForce 6800 Ultra, which was at the time was a $500 video card, and
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
beast. And I played it, and that very same PC, for some reason, 2 years later, that PC died.
Oh
I,
no.
I, I never could figure out what happened. Everything tested all right. I think it might have been a power supply, but I didn't put a lot of time into it because, again, I was married, as I had children. I had
Hmm.
priorities,
Yep.
things to take care of. But what that meant was that I could no longer play the Half-Lives, the Half-Life 2s, the Unreal Tournaments, the
Right.
Doom 3 at the time, Far Cry, all the games that I'd grown to love. And so I thought, okay, I don't really have the time to figure out what's wrong with this PC, but what other options do I have? And so I started looking at console gaming. And it turned out that this was around 2004, I want to
Hmm.
say. It turned out that all the games that I loved on PC, they were also on the Xbox, which is why I got an Xbox instead of a. Well, I already had a PS2 because I was playing San Andreas on the PS2. But yeah, every game that I loved on PC, that that IP had a place on Xbox because of the hard drive and the architecture and everything
Right.
of the first Xbox, and that just carried on from the Xbox to the 360, and yeah, I had a
That's awesome.
PS3 also, and then I sold it 3 days after I got it.
Oh, wow. In and out, huh?
Yes.
Yep.
Well, because me and the wife, I married a gamer.
Oh,
She runs her own guild on Elder Scrolls Online.
very cool.
Yeah, yeah. We have 2 TVs, 2 Xboxes. We don't fight for time. That
Nice.
would really, if we only had one console,
Oh,
it'd be horrible.
that would be horrible. You're right.
But we were like, remember on the 360, if you played anything co-op, you both could sign in with your gamer tags, and then you both got credit. You both got the achievements, and
Yeah.
you both got the story progression. Well, I really wanted to play Resistance on PlayStation, and so I
Yeah.
got a PS3. And the wife, she thought it really looked cool too, and so she wanted to play it with me. And then we come to find out that we both couldn't sign in to PlayStation with our PlayStation IDs. It was only one person sign in, the other person's a guest.
Mm-hmm.
So only one person got credit on the PS3 era. And after that, because I didn't want to do anything without her,
Right.
sold it.
I don't blame you.
Got rid of it.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, you have. Well, I was going to say you have no idea, but I'm sure you do.
I do. Yes, sir. That I do. Right there with you. How's that?
Yeah. And then PS4, Xbox One. I don't have a PS5 because up until now, all the games that I wanted to play have been releasing on PS4. God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, they've launched on PS4. I haven't been forced yet to get a PS5, but I did get a Series X day one. I had to get mine on the Xbox store, and my wife had to hit the refresh button 50,000 times on Amazon. But we both got our Series X's on day one.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. And, I try and keep it because I don't like toxic fanboys.
Right.
And I understand that I'll call foul on anybody. It doesn't matter who it is.
Mm-hmm.
If PlayStation's doing something really crappy, which so far in this ABK acquisition thing, Sony's been real crappy. I mean,
a little better.
Yeah, a little bitter. But I understand that Sony has great exclusives, and I enjoy those exclusives. One of my favorite games, Days Gone. I love Days Gone. I was mad when it didn't get a sequel.
Yeah.
But the community that I spend a lot of time with is on Xbox. So every other game that I buy is either played on Xbox or on my PC. But the first party games from Sony, I will always have a Sony console to enjoy those.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sony makes some great games. There's
they
no
do.
doubt about that.
Yeah. So what's next?
What's next? Well, let's talk about I guess your foray into YouTube. I guess did you start watching? I mean, just like pick up content, that way, or like you said, you used to be into the magazines. I was too.
Yes.
But then you can watch a show or watch somebody talk about it. It's kind of like, it's kind of like the magazine come to life.
Exactly. The magazine come to life, and they showed like gameplay capture where the pictures weren't pictures anymore. Yeah. I started following Dealer, Colt, Randall, Thor, Crap Gamer, MGB, one of them Open World Games. So many there, I can't name them all. There are so many,
Right.
but if you had good content and you were talking about things that I wanted to hear about, then I was basically subbing to you.
Nice.
And then, and I'm really the kind of person that if I like something, then I feel like I should support that something.
That's cool.
Like I want to be a part of something. especially if I love it. And so right away, Patreon member, channel member for Dealer, Colt, Randall, Thor, Mav and Caitlin over on Xbox Ultimate. A big proponent for Risk It for the Biscuit on his channel with the Xbox Infinite. Those are that's my Aussie family. I love them guys.
Love it.
And we would have so many great conversations in Xbox Live parties that I decided that why not? I mean, I love watching their stuff. Let's try putting out my own stuff. Let's try doing my own show.
Yeah. So how'd that come about?
We tried it.
When you say we, who did you get to work with you?
Back in the day, there was an individual named Premise, Power Man 4K. There was an individual named hold on, John Blue. Cool. He's big on Twitter. It didn't really. We did one show, and after that one show, I got picked up by the Xbox Live Party podcast.
Nice.
So I started doing the Xbox Live Party podcast. I was a panelist every weekend, and I did Xbox Live for like 6-7 months. I was Xbox Live Party podcast, and then and they're UK based. So one of the individuals is from Brazil, but the rest of them live in the UK. There's a couple that live in the States, but the majority of the show is in the UK. And whenever I would do a show for them, it was 8:00 their time, but it was like really early here.
Yeah.
So I was I came up with the idea. I tried to start a podcast before, but it didn't work out. Couldn't get everybody on the same page, and life got in the way, pretty much.
Yeah.
So how about I made a proposal to the Xbox Live Party podcast crew. I said, let me host a USA stream that takes place in the USA's prime time instead of the UK's prime time. Let me do a show that takes place in the 8 to 9 o'clock hour in the US. I told him, I said, you'll get more subs on the channel, you get more viewership, more exposure for the channel, because you'll really be opening up to a whole different demographic, during their peak hours. And so I did the Xbox Live Party podcast USA stream for about 6 months.
Wow.
About 6 months. And I don't really want to step on anybody's toes here or say anything that'll get anybody upset. But there was a difference in opinion and vision between my crew on the USA stream and then the UK stream. A lot of the things we weren't the USA stream. I may have been responsible for some of it because I would get guests together at the very last moment, or we may not be going on, but then at the last moment where everybody's like, okay, we're good to go, we can go on now. But because of the time difference between the UK and the US, I really needed to have some sort of control over the account so that I could make last minute changes.
Right.
I could create a last minute thumbnail if I needed to and be able to post it on the channel and be able to schedule a show. And I was never given that. One of my panelists was, because he was one of the members that helped to start the Xbox Live Party podcast. He was given it, and he's Fabio. He is now a permanent panelist on Game Set Live.
Nice.
So we literally in 30 days time, we went from parting ways with the Xbox XBL Party podcast. We parted ways with them, and started up Game Set Live within 30 days. And it
Wow.
was all the old panelists, some new guys. We've evolved and we've grown up until now. But that's I got in being a panelist, and I kind of started thinking, I could do this. I could have a good time with it. I want to
Yeah.
do my own thing so I can create
Mhm.
my own thumbnails. I can drive the show the way I want to drive it, and
Right.
not feel like I'm shackled
Mhm.
to another entity. So I want to be my own entity. And here we are, 40 episodes in on Game Set Live.
That's awesome. Now you were telling me a little story, I guess, in the green room, about episode 6 and how that went down.
Oh my
Give me,
gosh.
because that was early on for you. So tell me how that
Yeah, very
how that
early.
went down and what happened in that episode.
So, okay. So Dealer is one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And like in real life, I mean, we talk all the time, and we don't game so much these days because NBA 2K23 has taken my brother's life. It's all he can
He
seem to
plays
play
a
here
lot.
lately.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was just starting out. I didn't even have a panel set, and then we were still filling it out. And so some guys they weren't really committed
Right.
yet to the vision and to the show. And so, and at the same time, when you decide you're going to do something, it takes a little while for you to kind of work that into your life. Sometimes it'll work,
Right.
and sometimes life gets in the way. And when you're just starting something, the life gets in the way a whole lot.
Oh yeah.
And I had this episode 6, where literally we have our private chat on Twitter where we all communicate. Now we have a private, it's not private, but now we have a private server in Discord that we can talk
Right.
back and forth.
Nice.
And needless to say, everybody was hitting me up. Can't make it to the show. Can't make it to the show. Can't make it to the show.
Wow.
And I listened to Noof Nukem also, and Noof always said one thing that still is stuck in my head to this day, that when you become consistent at being inconsistent, then maybe it's a time to step back and look at things.
Yeah.
And so I was bound and determined that I was not going to become consistent at being inconsistent, that I was going to have an episode on every week, even if it was you just staring at my face and I was talking to you, no
Nice.
panelists. I was
Mhm.
dead set on doing a show every week. And I put out a feeler on Twitter. I was like, hey, to a podcaster, I mean, he doesn't like to be looked at this way.
Right.
He brought it up on the show Thursday. Don't reference how many subs he's got or whatnot. But to a podcaster, Dealer Gaming, that's where we all want to. That's where we all want to get. We may not come out and
Sure.
say it, but that's where we want. We want that kind of exposure. I mean, he could call somebody right now and probably have Phil Spencer on his show in 30 days.
I
I
guarantee
mean,
it.
of course, he's not going to jump right on it, but it can happen. He's
Right.
had it. So we all want to get there. And I put a feeler out on Twitter that day. I was like, hey, none of my panel can make it. I'm just looking for, does anybody want to spend some time with me and talk about gaming today on Game Set Live? And Dealer was
Nice.
the very first person to answer that tweet. And he was like,
That's
I'm here,
awesome.
bro. Let's do this. And then after he did it, all kinds of people were chiming in. I was like, wow, oh my goodness. So I was almost starstruck at the time,
Yeah.
because I was only on my 6th episode, and I was like,
Right.
wow, I've got Dealer coming on my show. And I've got, there were some others too. I have to go back and watch the show to really remember exactly how many, because there weren't normals.
Right.
So we start doing the show, and I believe at the time I was using Restream, which is like StreamYards, but it's got online storage, so I could capture my gameplay and then run the gameplay during the show. And still getting my feet wet midway through the show. The guys have been doing it for a long time. They really, Dead Space is bad. Dead Space, no, that's bad. You can't have that. So, and I was creating Dead Space. And so midway through this episode, Dealer Gaming he grabbed the reins and he drove that podcast for the last half of it.
That's awesome.
It was everybody in the live chat was even going as far to say it was RDX V2.
That's cool.
It's like,
so cool.
Well, here's your host, Dealer Gaming.
That was really
Yeah.
cool of him though to step in and to help out. That's the kind of guy he is, man. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome. And then I had him on this past week, Thursday, and he did poke me with the pitchfork a couple times. Like, come on, giving me some on air cues and some nudges and some encouragement. But I controlled the entire episode for an hour and 40 minutes.
But that's good though, man. He just wants to make you better, and that's awesome. You know, that's cool. That's very cool.
And I've had some. I mean, I kind of got so. I put a lot of what little success I've had, and YouTube is tough. I mean, everybody's got a podcast, and so I think right now Game Set Live is up to 143 subscribers, and I'm on episode 4
today.
Oh, yeah, you're probably 143 or 144. One of them.
There you go.
I'm not out to change the world or anything like that. I just
I
enjoy doing a show. And because of all of the podcast support that I have done in the past, it's opened lines of communication to some of these other podcasters that they actually consider coming on my show.
That's great.
Which is a great thing. I mean, when you jump into the community feet first, I mean, you're welcomed with open arms. Everybody out there is looking for support. Everybody wants to give support. It's a family. And I've had a lot of them on my show. I think I've had everybody from Xbox Infinite on my show. I've had half of them from RDX on my show. It's just,
that's cool.
The only one I've never had on my show is Wilmy Hood because his schedule is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to move his show, Gaming Beyond the Box, to Sundays because the evenings during the week, he can't do it. It's up in the air whether or not he's even going to be available because of the type of work he does. So
yeah, it took me several months before we got him nailed down for an interview with me. So yeah, I get it. Trust me, I do.
It's tough.
Yeah, that's true. But that's awesome, man. What night is your show on, and when does it air?
We are on YouTube only. We were streaming to Twitch and Facebook. I found that nobody was watching it on Twitch and Facebook, and we were also putting it on Twitter. It would show up in your timeline. You could watch it right there from your timeline, and you didn't have to go to YouTube. I can't do any of that anymore because I was using Restream, and I was paying a lot of money for the Restream account because I basically bought so much online storage that at the time my internet was so bad that I had to capture my gameplay, edit it, and then put it on their cloud service, and then I could access their cloud storage because then Restream is sending the video to YouTube from their server and not my country bumpkin internet. So I could run high bit rate. Well, like I said, it was expensive. I do believe I was paying about $100 a month for Restream.
Ooh, wow.
I stopped using Restream and I switched to OBS.
Nice.
Which is free.
Yep.
And unfortunately, though, with OBS, I can only stream to YouTube.
Right.
Signed into YouTube. And so it's only on YouTube now, every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2 a.m. British Standard Time for our UK brothers and sisters.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. Awesome. Very cool. Well, I'll make sure that in the description below we'll have the link to your YouTube channel and to your Twitter, and suggest that everybody goes on and not only subscribes to your channel, but they also hit the bell icon so you don't miss any episodes at all. Because you never know who's going to pop on KY Bob. I tell you, that's
you don't.
You really don't. You don't know. That's what I love about it.
Because I mean, if anything changes in the lineup, like I'll be 15 minutes before we go live, and I'm DMing all kinds of people. And it's
I
like,
love it.
this past RDX, if you saw RDX this past Tuesday,
Yeah.
it was dealer and two other people.
Yep.
Everybody had something going on. And
Yep.
he even mentioned, hey, we can get KY Bob on here when he went through me on the Patreon list.
Yep.
But I came home from work that day and I took a nap. And I
Oh
joined the
no.
show half hour late. It would have been my second time on RDX, and I missed it over a damn nap.
I'm sure there are going to be other chances for you, Bob.
Oh, I'm sure there will be, but I'll still
That's
kick
awesome.
myself in the butt over it.
Well, sure. Yeah, no, his show is pretty prominent. That's for sure. But I tell you, man, you've definitely got a good foothold, good start. It's a good conversational podcast, and I like that too, man, because you guys cover a lot of different things, and and what you
Yeah.
guys are doing now. So I love it. And let's turn it just a little bit to talk about I guess gaming right now, like what's going on in gaming. Obviously there's the big ABK deal. There's a lot of mudslinging going around. What do you what are your thoughts right now on gaming today?
It's really something that should bring people closer together
Right.
and make communities stronger. Is really seeming to be very divisive,
Hmm.
and I really it starts on Twitter because you don't go get in your next door neighbor's face and start telling him how his preferred platform sucks, and
Right.
how yours is better. You don't do that. No, you get on Twitter where you're protected and you
Yeah.
can spew all the toxic nonsense that you want. And
Makes you
if you
very
would,
brave.
you want to know exactly how I feel, look at my pinned tweet on my profile on Twitter. It should not be used as a soapbox to prove that you or your choices are better than anybody else's. And
Exactly.
so I like gaming on everything. I love my real time strategy games on my PC.
Hmm.
That's the only games I play on my PC. Real time strategy. I'm sorry, mouse and keyboard that way all day.
Yeah.
The bangers, first party Sony content, it's played on my PlayStation. Everything else is played with the community that I've grown to know and love on my Xbox.
Nice.
But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Xbox is better than Sony.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you Sony's better than. I can tell you that in my eyes, they're both better than Nintendo.
Well, yeah, there you go. There you go.
But I mean, at the same time, 20 years ago, I loved Zelda.
Yeah.
But I haven't touched the Zelda in, I think Twilight Princess on the Wii was the last Zelda I played.
Wow. That was a great game though. But yeah, I agree. I
It was a
agree.
good
I
game.
can see that. Yep. Yep. Yep.
What's going on right now is, I don't know, it bothers me because PC gaming, it doesn't matter what kind of PC you got, whether what kind of processor you have, it doesn't matter what kind of video card you're running, and you can play any game,
Hmm.
every single game. But when you get into the console space, it's that name on the plastic box it's become a big gatekeeper
Yeah.
that I wish would go away, but it's not. Exclusives are always going to be there.
Yep.
Yeah. And the ABK deal has really brought a lot of things to light. I do think, honestly, now that what we're seeing come out, that Sony may have had a huge part in why Sega's console died.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, was it the Dreamcast was the last one?
Yes, it was. Yep.
And that game had a problem. I mean, that console had a problem with games. There
Hmm.
were not a lot of them.
Right.
And now you're seeing how some exclusive deals and how what things aren't hitting Xbox or not hitting Xbox for so long. And these documents are coming out and saying, well, this is why, because they're paying us.
Yep.
Yeah. And the Dreamcast was ahead of its time. I mean, it was
Oh yeah.
a very good console, a very
Loved
powerful
it.
console.
I love the Dreamcast. Yep. I agree with you.
So, yeah, I mean, of course, I want the deal to go through
Yeah.
because I am a Game Pass subscriber. If you're a Game Pass subscriber, you want this deal to go through. If you own
Amen.
both consoles and you're a Game Pass subscriber, you're like, shoot, yeah. Go
Heck
ahead.
yeah.
I won't have to pay for another Call of Duty. I won't have to pay for another Diablo as long as I live, because they'll be on Game Pass day one and day.
Yep. As long as you have it, you're good to
But
go.
if you
Exactly.
only own a PlayStation, then to you that deal is bad. But it's not.
Could be.
It could be. But if
Yep.
that's all you have, you at the same time though, they've already said they're not going to take anything away.
Yep. I agree with that.
They've signed 4 deals in the last month to
Yeah.
put games on GeForce Now, Nintendo, Blasteroid, and I can't pronounce the other one.
I know what you're talking about, though. Yep.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Jim Ryan coming out and saying that he's like, I don't want another Call of Duty deal. All I want to do is block your merger.
Yep.
Really, dude?
Yeah. I bet he wished more people didn't know about that comment, but it's out there now. That's for sure.
Yeah, and look, Activision in a from a cultural standpoint, with Bobby Kotick,
Yep.
they need to change.
Yeah.
They need a cultural change at Activision, and Microsoft will give them that cultural change.
I agree with that 100%.
Microsoft is very inclusive, very accepting, and they've already said that soon after the ink, before the ink's even dry, Bobby Kotick's gone.
Yeah. He'll get his nice little parachute and he'll be on his way.
Yep,
He'll,
he'll get his
he'll
parachute.
get
He's
lots of
gone.
money and good to go. Yep. Yeah.
So
I'm sure he's ready
I've,
for retirement or what's next for him. Yep.
yeah, I've come out and I've been very public about they're going to keep pushing Activision, and if this deal doesn't go through, what's that going to do with the relationship between Sony and Activision in the future?
Right.
Knowing that they're the ones responsible that this didn't happen.
Yeah.
Because they want it. They want it almost more than Microsoft wants it.
Yep. It's a lot of shareholders that really like that, that like to have that money.
Yeah. It does make the world go around.
It does. It does.
I own share in Activision. It's not a lot, but I bought some.
There you go. Very cool. That's awesome. I work for U.S. Bank, and I have certain portfolios, but I do not purchase stocks individually because I don't feel like I should. But that's because of my job. And the story, but no, so I get that. Yeah. If I could, I would. That's for sure. But yeah,
U.S.
there's
Bank. Hey, my mortgage is through U.S. Bank.
well, there you go. There you go.
I
Well,
work at a distillery now.
very cool. Very cool.
Yes.
If you're the department I work in is actually I work with the VA a lot, so I help keep veterans from going under on their loans. So that's a big part of my job is to help
that is a
keeping them
respectable
going.
job, sir.
Well, thank you very much. We don't always get what we want, but we do our best to get the job done for the veterans because God bless them. I tell you, that's America wouldn't be here if it wasn't for people doing their service. So,
Correct.
but yeah, it's so let's I guess as we wrap this up a little bit, I always like to ask one more question, and that's kind of like what is the most anticipated game for you that's not out yet, but that is everybody knows about? So it's not like a secret hidden game that dealers only whispered in your ear let you know about because he knows stuff. I'm just kidding, but it's something that everybody knows about. But what is the most anticipated game coming out that's not out yet for you? And it can be more than one. That tough one.
Okay. The obvious answer is Starfield.
Yeah, that's a good game.
I mean, you're basically talking about their first new IP in decades.
Yes.
And how, but, and I'm going to get ostracized for this.
Not at all.
I was never, I love Fallout.
Mm-hmm.
Not big on Elder Scrolls.
Mm.
I was Fallout 3, Fallout 4.
Mm-hmm.
I even liked 76. But you really had to, the griefers ran rampant in 76, and you would getting killed by a computer is one thing. Getting killed by somebody that picked up a warrant on you is, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's a lot better now than it used to be. That's for sure.
and and one of the reasons why, I mean, I tried to like Oblivion,
Hmm.
and I tried to like Skyrim, and I would play them a lot, but they didn't really capture me. I
Yeah.
didn't finish either of those games, but I did finish all the Fallouts. So Starfield, it's, it looks like my jam
Yeah.
because you're in space, and if they can make all the different planets are the way they should be, then I'm there. But I do kind of have I have a passion for zombie games,
Very
and
cool.
I'm a huge fan of Undead Labs. Undead Labs has gone above and beyond
Hmm.
since they got acquired by Microsoft. Undead Labs has got like they have a stream like every week on their channel. I mean, I
Yeah.
believe sometimes they take like a month where they don't have a video, and then that very next week they've got 4, so they make up for it. And
Hmm.
they're constantly adding content to State of Decay 2, constantly. So big zombie fan, State of Decay 3, and Dead Island 2.
Nice.
I want Dead Island. Dead Island 2 is stuck in like development purgatory for so many
Coming though,
years.
right? It's coming.
It's coming. And I've got it pre-ordered and I'm
Nice.
ready for it. Some people, they get tired of zombie games and I'm like, no, a zombie game with other people, with friends. Come on,
That's gonna be a
let's do
blast.
this
Yeah.
shit. Let's go.
Exactly. You gonna be able to get Dealer away from his basketball game to play with you?
No,
No.
no,
Tell him it's zombie
no.
basketball Dealer.
I
That's
tried
it.
playing basketball with him too, and it's just like I played basketball in high school.
Yeah.
I was a power forward, and funny story, I was a power forward. I was 6'6". At the time, I was about 255 pounds. And I would talk to some college coaches, and they said that I'd have to play guard because 6'6" is a guard in college. And I'm like, well, I can't play guard. And they're like,
Wow.
well, then you can't play college ball. Yeah. I made a good
Wow.
power forward in high school, but not in college.
That's
So,
crazy.
and I love playing basketball still to this day.
Yeah.
But I mean, you live in the state of Kentucky.
Yeah.
Basketball is just kind of ingrained.
It is. It is.
Uh,
Yeah.
but playing the game, I tried and I never could get the controls. And I'm like, can't get it to do what I want it to do. And you see Dealer, he'll be like cutting through the lane and going up, dunking it hard. And I'm like, how'd you do that?
Yeah. It's pretty amazing
What
watching his
button
gameplay.
combination is that shit?
That's funny.
Yeah, but he's got it down now. I mean, he loves it. I just hope he gets all he can from it and never picks it up again because we miss you, Dealer.
Dealer, come back. That's so
Come
funny.
back.
Oh, I'm sure
Yeah.
he will eventually, but until next year when the new game comes out, right? Well, KY Bob, it has been absolutely awesome getting to know you and having you on here, man. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you sharing your stories with us and tell everybody where they can find you on Twitter.
You can find me on Twitter. It's KY Bob. Can't miss the icon.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Try to be
There
a
it
little
is.
unbiased. You see that? It's me.
Nice.
Twitter, KY Bob. YouTube, KY Bob. Right now, we just do the Game Set Live show, and I know I really need to make more content because apparently just one show a week's not doing it.
You'll get
As
there.
far as growth.
Mm-hmm.
But put it this way: you subscribe, which is free.
Yep.
And hit that little bell icon.
Yep.
I'm only going to bug you once a week right now. And that's only on
That's the way to
Thursdays.
look at it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Unlike Game Ranks, I love Game Ranks, but they do a video every day, and they're
Yeah.
all good. But
Yep.
they still bug me every day.
Yeah. That's funny.
On Xbox, it's KY Bob, but Bob without an O. It's a 0 because there is an imposter out there
Oh my gosh.
carrying KY Bob.
Gotcha.
I don't know who it is,
I'll put that in the
But if I
link.
try typing out KY Bob, it makes me like it says KY Bob number 7,364.
Ugh.
Now if it's something that somebody's already got, it puts that number after it.
Yeah, it does.
So I put a 0 on there, and I got it without the number, and I was happy.
Yeah, awesome. Sounds good.
Same thing on PlayStation Network too. KY Bob.
All right, cool. Well, I'll have it else down in the description below as well. And thank you again for being here. I really appreciate it. And man, sub this man, please. He needs those subs, and it's worth content. It's gonna be fun. I tell you, it's a good time. It's worth it. Like you said, doesn't cost anything, so you should definitely do it.
Just one more thing I wanted to say. So I told everybody when we started this podcast venture that I have my own career. I've got electrical engineer in the field. I've got a job that does more than feed me and my family. If anything comes out of this whole podcast thing, then I'm going to whip that right back around and put it back into the community.
That's awesome.
So if we ever do reach the 1,000 subs that you need to monetize and receive super chats and whatnot, and do like any kind of what's the word I'm looking for, advertisements or anything like that,
right,
then that money is going to get turned right back around and be given in games and gift cards and stuff to the viewers.
That's
I'm not
awesome.
going to keep any of that, especially now. At the time when I was running Restream, I was like, okay, well, if we ever get there, I'll use part of it to pay for Restream. But now I'm on OBS and it's just free.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's so funny.
So, maybe we'll get there.
I think you will.
It's still going to be fun, though.
Exactly. As long as you have that attitude, having fun and enjoying it and being with your friends and everything, that's the way to go. As long as you enjoy what you're doing, life is good. KY Bob, thanks again for being here. And thanks everybody for joining us. And don't forget to hit the sub and the subscription button here for us as well. And also join us on Twitter here. And thank you for joining us here at Outbreak Gamers.